3 in the morning, the kind of hour where the world feels frozen and every sound is louder than it should be. My phone lit up with a message from Mia, and before I even opened it, I knew it wouldn't be good. When I read her text, "If you don't come pick me up from Brandon's house right now, we're done," my chest went cold in a way I can't explain. There was something terrifying about how casually she threw our relationship onto the negotiation table at 3 a.m., like it meant nothing to her. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen, realizing this was the moment everything broke. Instead of panicking or rushing out the door, something in me snapped into clarity. I typed back one short message, hit send, and watched the quiet room swallow the sound. That was the last calm moment before the entire night, and everyone's lives detonated. When I put my phone down after sending that one-line breakup message, the silence in my room felt like the eye of a storm right before it rips apart everything in its path. I wasn't shaking, I wasn't angry, I wasn't even sad. It was more like a numb, heavy understanding settling into my bones. If Mia was at another guy's house at 3 in the morning, throwing ultimatums around, then whatever we had wasn't real anymore. And for the first time, instead of trying to fix something broken, I let it break. But then comes the part I didn't expect. See, Brandon, the guy Mia was with, wasn't single. It's complicated. We're on a break. He was married. Married to Sarah, a woman who was 7 months pregnant and trusted her husband enough to let him work late or crash at a friend's place whenever he needed to. And the more I thought about that, the more this weird sense of responsibility crawled up my spine. Not responsibility for Mia, she made her choices, but for the person who didn't even know she was in the crossfire. So I did something I never imagined myself doing. I opened a folder on my phone where I'd kept screenshots, messages, and little things that hadn't made sense until that exact moment. Late-night texting patterns. Weird excuses. Funny coincidences that didn't feel so funny anymore. It was all there, the kind of puzzle you don't want to solve, but can't unsee once the pieces land. I stared at Sarah's contact for a long minute before sending anything. My thumb hovered, and I wondered if I was crossing a line or saving someone from waking up to a worse reality months later. Eventually, I sent everything. No explanation, no commentary, just the truth. Cold, blunt, undeniable. It took her less than 20 seconds to reply. Her first message was just a question mark, like she couldn't process what she was seeing. Then another message came in. And another. Then a phone call. And then absolute chaos. Through the walls of my apartment, I couldn't hear anything, obviously, but every new notification from Sarah told the story loud and clear. She thanked me first. Then she apologized for me having to deal with Mia. Then she said she was calling Brandon right that second, and that he had exactly 10 minutes to get home and explain himself. I didn't know what was happening on her end, but I could feel the explosion through the screen. Meanwhile, Mia started blowing up my phone with messages, angry ones, desperate ones, incoherent ones. She went from "you're overreacting" to "nothing happened" to "please don't tell anyone" in the span of 5 minutes. The irony was brutal. She had threatened to break up with me if I didn't rush to rescue her from her own mistake, and now she was begging me to undo the damage she created. But I didn't respond. I didn't need to. What Mia didn't realize, not yet, was that the moment she weaponized our relationship, she handed me the one truth that had been sitting in the dark for months. And by sending those receipts to Sarah, I didn't just expose a betrayal. I triggered a chain reaction that none of them would ever be able to stop. Sarah didn't wait until sunrise to confront the truth I'd sent her. Within minutes, her messages shifted from shock to fury, and then everything went dead quiet. That kind of silence, after someone finds out their husband has been cheating while she's carrying his child, is the most dangerous kind. I imagined her packing the living room, phone in hand, replaying all the moments she had brushed off as nothing. And then I imagined Brandon walking through the door, expecting to slip into bed unnoticed, only to find his world already on fire. I didn't witness the explosion firsthand, but the digital tremors reached me anyway. A little past 3:30 a.m., Mia's text suddenly shifted from angry to terrified. Then came the line that said everything. "Sarah found out. She's kicking me out. Please come get me." I stared at that message longer than I expected. Not because I felt bad, but because of how fast everything had flipped on her. 1 hour ago, she was giving me ultimatums. Now she was standing outside someone else's house in the middle of the night, carrying her shoes and crying, while the pregnant wife she betrayed locked the door and threw her things onto the lawn. I didn't know the exact details until later, but I heard enough from Sarah afterward to piece the scene together. She went into the guest room, where Mia was hiding. She threw her bag at her feet. And with a calm, cutting voice that only the deeply betrayed can produce, she told her to get out. Not leave. Not please go. Just a cold, sharp out. Brandon tried to step in, but Sarah shut him down with a look that could end worlds. She told him she already changed the locks. She told him she would call the police if he tried to stop her. Then she tossed Mia's jacket into the yard and closed the door. Just like that. Around 4 a.m., Mia shifted from panicking to bargaining. She spammed my phone with messages about how she messed up, how it wasn't what it looked like, how she just needed a place to stay for a night. She even sent a voice note, her voice shaking, breathless, saying she had no one else. But even her desperation sounded performative, like she was trying to slip into the role of the victim, because it was the only card she had left. I didn't reply. Not once. And maybe that silence hit harder than anything I could have said. By sunrise, she was still messaging. The tone had shifted again, this time to guilt-tripping. She wrote paragraphs about how she gave everything to our relationship, how I was leaving her at her lowest, how I didn't understand the pressure she was under. But every sentence read like she was trying to manipulate the situation back into control. When the sun finally came up, she sent one last text. "Can I stay at your place for just a few days? Please, I have nowhere." And for the first time since the night began, I felt something close to anger. Not because she cheated, not because she lied, but because she thought she could burn down 2 households and still expect me to save her from the smoke. I typed back a single word. No. Then I put my phone down and watched the morning light crawl across the ceiling, realizing the chaos of the night wasn't ending. It was only beginning its next phase. Messages were flying in before sunrise. Friends of Lauren were demanding explanations. Some were accusing me of abandoning her in the middle of the night, repeating whatever story she had fed them. Others insisted I had always been controlling, and that this was finally my mask slipping. I didn't bother arguing because every time I tried to type a response, another notification came in from someone else wanting drama instead of truth. Then Bethany messaged me privately to thank me for coming forward. She said she wasn't surprised about the affair, but she was surprised by how long it had been happening and how many people apparently knew. She told me she had found old photos of Lauren at parties where she clearly wasn't supposed to be, including stories that had been archived by friends who thought they were harmless at the time. In those clips, Ethan appeared in the background more than once, hands on her waist, whispering into her ear, or walking with her to his car long after the group had gone home. When those screenshots leaked onto social media, everything exploded. People Lauren had blocked months ago suddenly resurfaced, gleefully sharing stories about how everyone already knew. Some recounted moments when she bragged about manipulating boyfriends. Others claimed she laughed about how easily Ethan lied to his pregnant wife. Lauren tried to control the narrative by posting a shaky video insisting everything was fabricated, but the comments immediately turned against her. Even her closest friends started distancing themselves when more receipts appeared, including chat logs showing her bad-mouthing them. By noon, her reputation online had collapsed into a circus. That's when she showed up at my apartment with her mother. Her mom demanded to know why I had ruined her daughter's future. Lauren cried loudly enough for my neighbors to peek through their doors, insisting she had nowhere else to go. I reminded them that she had chosen Ethan's place at 3 a.m. instead of mine. Her mother accused me of being heartless, but she visibly faltered when I showed her a few of the messages Lauren sent me, especially the threats and the ultimatum. They left only after realizing I wasn't opening my door under any circumstances. Not even 10 minutes later, Ethan showed up at my workplace with 2 guys he clearly thought looked intimidating. He paced by the entrance like he owned the place, rehearsing lines under his breath, trying to work up the nerve to confront me. But security recognized him from the incident reported by Bethany and escorted all 3 off the property before he even stepped foot inside. He yelled that I had messed with the wrong man, but his voice cracked, and the threat sounded more pathetic than dangerous. I went back to my desk, sat down, and realized the chaos had spread far beyond a single 3 a.m. text. Families were involved. Friends were choosing sides. Social media was tearing through their secrets like wolves on a carcass. And all of it, every last spark, came from that moment Lauren tried to control me with a threat she thought I'd cave to forever. The morning after the blow-up at my workplace, I made a decision that felt less like revenge and more like taking out the trash that had been stinking up everyone's lives for months. I sat down, organized every screenshot, every timestamp, every photo, every saved voicemail, and compiled it all into a clean, chronological folder. There was no commentary, no emotional paragraphs, just raw evidence of Ethan and Lauren using company time, company property, and company resources to carry out their affair like the rules somehow didn't apply to them. Then I forwarded everything to HR. The response was immediate. Within 10 minutes, the head of human resources scheduled an emergency meeting with both of them. I wasn't invited to the meeting, but I didn't need to be. Everyone who walked past that conference room could hear the shouting through the glass walls. Ethan tried to deny everything at first, but the moment HR started listing dates, locations, and video captures from company parking lots, his confidence fell apart like wet cardboard. Lauren, on the other hand, went straight to crying. She insisted she had been emotionally vulnerable, that nothing inappropriate happened during work hours, and that I had twisted things because I was jealous. HR calmly pulled out a printed sheet showing her clock-in data compared to her GPS location history on her company phone. She had signed out of the office early more than 20 times in the past 2 months, always coinciding with Ethan's suspicious gaps in his schedule. By noon, both of them were placed on administrative leave. Security collected their badges and escorted them out of the building, while employees pretended to work, but openly watched through the glass doors. Some tried to act sympathetic. Most didn't. Everyone had stories, moments they had noticed something off but never said anything out loud. The puzzle pieces finally made sense. 2 days later, the official decision came down. They were both terminated for violation of workplace policies, misuse of company property, falsifying work hours, and engaging in conduct that could expose the company to liability. Lauren called me that afternoon, her voice hoarse from crying, demanding to know why I had gone this far. I hung up before she finished her sentence. Meanwhile, Bethany took the evidence I had given her straight to her divorce attorney. I didn't realize how thorough the lawyer would be until she messaged me asking for the exact timestamps of the screenshots for legal alignment. When she said, "Thank you, this is everything I needed," I understood what she meant. This wasn't going to be a messy divorce. It was going to be a dismantling. Ethan tried to negotiate, then begged, then threatened. Nothing worked. Bethany had every message where he admitted to staying late at work, every lie he told her about team deadlines, every photo that placed him anywhere except where he claimed to be. Her lawyer filed with full custody requests, financial penalties, and compensation for emotional distress. She walked into court with months of documentation. Ethan walked in with excuses. The judge made his decision in under 15 minutes. When the verdict hit, it didn't just strip Ethan of his credibility. It stripped him of everything he had been pretending to be. Lauren ended up losing her job. Ethan lost his marriage. And the truth they tried to bury became the very thing that crushed them both. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just sat quietly that night, realizing that the moment they decided to lie, cheat, and manipulate, their fate had already been sealed. All I did was shine a light on it. Ethan's life fell apart faster than anyone expected. The day after the court ruling, he had to pack his things from the house he once bragged about providing for his family. Bethany changed the locks, and with the custody decision finalized, he no longer had any say in anything happening inside those walls. He moved into a small room above his cousin's garage, a place he once mocked for being too cramped when someone else lived there. Now it was home. His car was repossessed within a month because he couldn't keep up with payments after losing his job. He tried picking up part-time gigs, but garnishment kicked in immediately, every paycheck sliced before he even saw it. His mother dragged him to church every Sunday, insisting he repent and pray for guidance, while he sat there looking like a man who finally understood what consequences actually felt like. In the months that followed, the dust never truly settled for Lauren and Ethan. If anything, the chaos hardened into a permanent stain that everyone in town seemed to remember even when they pretended not to. Their names became shorthand for drama, whispered in grocery store aisles, and joked about in group chats they were no longer invited to. Someone even made a meme of Ethan getting escorted out of the office by security, and it circulated so widely that distant relatives he hadn't spoken to in years sent him messages asking if it was really him. He tried to deny it at first, but the internet has a way of archiving your worst moments until denial becomes a punchline. Sure thing, try here. The 200-word ending, clean and straight to the point. M letter 1ED7, I cow X U letter 1ED1, NG hang sao D letter 1EA5, UCH letter 1E5M. The final realization settles slowly, like dust drifting back to the ground after a long and exhausting storm. There is no dramatic twist left to uncover, and no hidden truth waiting to erupt. Only the quiet acceptance that every choice made along the way has shaped the path to this moment. The characters now see how each misunderstanding, each hesitation, and each surge of courage intertwined to create a journey they could never have predicted. The conflicts that once felt overwhelming now seem smaller, softened by the clarity that follows emotional upheaval. Nothing is entirely solved, yet nothing is entirely broken either. It is simply life continuing its steady rhythm, nudging each person toward whatever comes next. Some carry lessons they never expected to learn, while others find a sense of peace in knowing they finally spoke the truths they once feared to admit. There is a gentle hope in the air, the kind that does not promise perfection, but invites the possibility of better days. As the story draws to a close, what remains is the understanding that growth often blooms quietly after the loudest battles fade. And with that, the curtain falls, leaving each character to step into their next chapter with renewed resolve.